I think it's really interesting. When I started out this program, it was a little bit different. When I started out, I didn't necessarily know where this research was going to lead me, and necessarily didn't understand what I would do with it. I knew I was interested in obesity, and I knew I was interested in basic science and trying to connect those dots. But then as I went through the process, I think what was beautiful was that the evolution of the research kind of mirrored the evolution in my understanding of who I was going to be as an academic surgeon. And so now, while going through this process, that's when I decided to do a PhD. That's when the research became something that now is part of my identity in terms of what I want to do as an academic surgeon. The program has definitely let me improve on my communication from scientific and clinical settings, as well as writing skills. I think I've certainly acquired new skills in the lab in terms of basic lab techniques, and a great appreciation for the rigor that you need to have a really scientifically sound experiment. I think even bigger than that, what I am trying to work in, and is certainly a work in progress, is trying to figure out how to connect the dots between the clinical and basic science world and create a story that makes what you're studying more meaningful and more impactful for your patients. So what I'm really interested in is obesity and inflammation. That's at least what my PhD will be on. And in kind of a quick recap, we know that in obese states that our inflammation is higher, and that inflammation leads to other things like hypertension and diabetes. And so what I've been looking at, one, is how that inflammation occurs and how that mediates those other problems, but also after bariatric surgery, when we know we are fixing a lot of those problems, how does that weight loss change the inflammation, or does it change it in a different way? And how can we continue that process after bariatric surgery to make patients more successful? It's so important to have a good mentor. I mean, my mentors have been so instrumental in getting me to where I am now. Dr. Noria and Dr. Needleman have been kind of my big sister and brother. Dr. Shoy has been the one mentoring me in my lab. And that Dr. Baumgartner and my program director, Dr. Harzman, certainly have been very important in allowing me this opportunity to spend 3 years in between my clinical years to do this. And then even above that, you need to find a good environment. The lab that I work in is so great. I have a fantastic MD PhD student who works with me and has become my big sister in teaching me all the lab techniques, and certainly we're able to collaborate. So I think finding an environment in which you thrive is really important, from mentorship all the way to the people you work with. And then thirdly, to not be afraid to follow your heart. You have to do something you love. I think once you have that passion and that drive, it'll fuel your endeavors as you go forward, and it will prevent burnout. And I think that's incredibly important, whether you decide to do research or not, and more importantly, in what kind of research you want to do. Allow yourself the opportunity to be unique in that possibility, and I think Ohio State gives you that.